Okay, friends, here we go.
Get ready for another episode of True Story Sunday. This story happened to me about a year ago. It's one of the wildest things that's ever happened in my life. My son is now 1 year old, but when he was born through a C-section, I remember the nurse coming up to and saying, "You guys want to do skin to skin?" Or you're like basically, do you want to hold your baby? And of course, you say yes. Of course you say yes to that. And so we hold the baby, and it was the same nurse. Here's the thing, it was the same nurse the whole time. She was with us in the hospital room. She came with us to the operating room. She was there with us the whole time. Okay, that's important to this story. But about a month later, everything's fine. Baby's healthy, little baby boy. He's healthy, mom's healthy, everything's good. About a month later, we get the hospital bill. I don't know why it takes them so long to get those things out, but that's what it took. And my wife notices that there's a line that says skin-to-skin contact, $39.35. I think that was the number. So she calls the hospital. I'm at work still, but she gets the mail. She calls the hospital. She spends 45 minutes on the phone trying to talk to a human being that can explain to her why there's this charge that sounds like she's being charged to hold her baby. And gives up after 45 minutes, doesn't have time for it anymore. So I get home and she shows me about it, and we both kind of laugh about it. And I think this is funny, I'm going to post it on Reddit. In my mind, I thought this could, turn into one of those, I just got lost. This could turn into one of those Reddit posts that goes pretty big on Reddit. Because they like to, Redditors, we like to feel like we're becoming a catalyst for change. We're going to make the world better by hitting that upvote button. Sometimes it works, no doubt about that. When a company's doing something dumb and all of a sudden there's millions of people talking about it, they tend to not do that dumb thing anymore. So I posted to Reddit, and with the title, I just posted the picture with the title, what was the title of that? Where is this road? Sorry, I got lost. Where am I here? I posted it with the title, "The hospital charged me $39.35 to hold my baby." Or something like that. And it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was not feeling good. I was sick. And I knew I had seen it was getting some traction, and then I went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, I had destroyed the whole internet. I mean, that post had gone worldwide. When I say, I just waited. I didn't do anything. I just thought, oh my God. And I just waited. And eventually, I knew that they would find me, and eventually they did. The first organization that found me was the New York Daily News. And an email came through, and he just said, hey, or maybe my phone rang. I don't even know. Maybe my phone rang. It was like, hey, is this the dad who posted this picture? And I was like, yeah, you found me. Congratulations, you're the first guy to find me. And he was pumped because he was going to be the first guy to interview me and get a story out about this, right? So he asked me some questions, and then he emailed me some more questions, and he asked for more photos. And I sent him some more photos. He's like, okay, don't talk to anybody else for 15 minutes. And I said, okay. And then I immediately started answering other people's email requests. It was talked about everywhere. You might remember this. You might remember hearing about this story. But I was trying to explain to people, like I was at my parents' house, and I was like, every news organization on earth is talking about this. And then my mom goes, oh my gosh, they're talking about you on The View. And I was like, Mom, what don't you understand when I say everyone? I got I was sick the next day. I didn't go into work, and I stayed home and pretty much gave interviews, phone interviews and email interviews the whole day. I could have had the whole street in front of my house lined up with news vans, but my poor wife had just had a baby. She was not interested in being on TV. So I turned all the TV reporters away, and I kind of liked keeping it, to email, because when you I don't know, I feel like when you do live things, there's this episode of Arrested Development where Job says, "Don't edit this to make it look like I'm shouting, 'I killed Earl Mumford,'" and then that's the only thing that they show on the news broadcast. Like, they have a way of manipulating it to make it as exciting as possible. So I thought if I just send emails, it'd be hard for them to do that. So that whole day I was like at my battle station in my pajamas answering questions. And the next day I went to work, and geez, I'm at the top already. The next day I did go to work, and I have this phone, like a landline phone, at my desk. I never use it. I use my cell phone for everything. I don't even know the number of this phone, and it's ringing. And it's like someone from Toronto, Canada, that works for this radio station, and they want to interview me about this story. And then some people would find that number, and some people would find the main number, which goes to like an HR person at my company. And she'd come running down the hallway, and she'd be like, it's People Magazine, they want to talk to you. And I was like, oh my, because it's like, how many times can you tell the same story over and over and over? Because it wasn't like they weren't getting anything new from me. Everybody was getting the same story. My Facebook messaging thing was just bombarded, absolutely filled with requests from people, the BBC, news organizations in Scotland and Ireland and Canada and all across the United States were trying to contact me and ask me questions about this hospital bill. Especially the people in Utah, because it was a local story. They were after me. Please let us come and interview you on TV. And I didn't want to, well, I kind of wanted, my opinion of it was, this is a once in a lifetime deal. Nothing like this is ever going to happen again. Let's let it get as crazy as it can get. But my wife did not see eye to eye with me on that. So it didn't quite get as crazy as it could get. At one point, we got invited to be, there was only a few people that were like, we'll pay you some money if you come on our show. We'll give you some compensation. They never gave me a number, especially when they found out that my wife wasn't interested in doing it. They're like, well, we don't want just you. We want your wife as well. Let's go this way. So they never really gave us a number. I don't know what they pay for stuff like that. But the news, people don't really get rich off being in the news. News organizations don't pay people for stories, because then you got people making up stories to get in the news. It's the movie Nightcrawler, if you haven't seen that. So then what happened? We did get invited to be on a talk show, a daytime talk show. I think the name of the show is Reverend T.J. Jakes. They called me up. They wanted us to come on the show. And I was like, my wife's not really down with any of this. And they go, well, try to talk to her, the Reverend. He can help people. If she's feeling like a little bit depressed after having a baby and stuff, the Reverend could help her. And I went and I watched some of this guy's shows, and I was like, oh, geez, I didn't want to be a part of this very religious show.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up out of your sleep, wake up out of your sleep, wake up, I command you in the name of Jesus, wake up.
I guess as crazy as it got was I was laying in bed one night getting ready to go to sleep, and I got a Facebook notification, and one of my friends says, boom, there it is, you're on the Tonight Show. And Jimmy Fallon made a joke, and if you watched it, he fumbled the joke, and he had to do it 3 times because he kept screwing it up. And it wasn't like the funniest joke in the world, but it was pretty cool to have Jimmy Fallon tell him a joke that involved me and my son. It was just mind-blowing to watch it spread, watch this viral story take over the world. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that, I had this moment in time where the whole world was ready to listen to me. And I could have used it, and I recognized this at the time, I could have used it to get up and say, hospital bills are terrible, we need some kind of change. Nobody looks at a hospital bill and thinks, oh yeah, that's reasonable, that makes sense, especially if you're from the United States. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't get up and say all those things, and here's why. My wife, as some of you know, is a pediatrician in Panama. And becoming a pediatrician or any kind of doctor in the United States when you're an international medical graduate is very, very difficult. You have to take a lot of tests, and your medical school counts. You don't have to do that again, but you do have to do a residency again. But in order to apply for a residency, you have to take a bunch of tests, and it's very expensive, and it's very time-consuming. There's a bunch of hoops you have to jump through. It's a big, huge nightmare of a headache. And about 3 weeks before we had our baby, my wife finally finished all of those steps. And there's like a certain time of year where you apply for residencies. And so she applied for residencies. And one of the places she applied to happened to be the same hospital that I blew up by posting this picture on the internet. And I don't think that the hospital would have taken it, would have looked at that and been like, well, we're not going to give her a job. I don't think that they would be like petty like that. But I also knew it certainly wasn't going to help her chances if I stood up in front of the world and been like, this hospital screwed me out of $39 and I hate them. And honestly, everybody there did an amazing job. The doctors and nurses, they were all great. The hospital's official response eventually was, we don't charge anyone to hold their baby. That charge which was a line item of skin-to-skin contact, that charge was actually for the extra nurse that was in the room. And that never made sense to me because there was, as far as I understood, it was the same nurse with us the whole time. So I didn't get that at all. But I tried not to make a big deal out of it. Like, they issued their statement, and then when the New York Times called me, I didn't say, well, look, what they're saying, that's kind of bullshit because there was no extra nurse. It was the same nurse the whole time. Also, skin-to-skin contact lasts for, 10 minutes maybe, and then you got to get out of the OR kind of a thing. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, if the nurse has to stay there, if she has to be there waiting to give that service, and then maybe she's there like half an hour, what do OR nurses get paid? It doesn't add up in my mind. But I tried to be cool about it because my wife had just applied for a job at this hospital. Turns out she didn't get a job there, so I should have, after blowing them up, went and stomped on their ashes. But it all worked out. And after, I remember sending an email. I went on the hospital's website and I found the email address of their public relations person, and I emailed her and I said, hey, I think I may have ruined your day or maybe your entire week. And I didn't mean to. I'm not angry at the hospital, and I really wasn't. But insurance paid for most of it anyways. But that's what happened. That's my true story Sunday. I think I told her just, issue a statement and then hide under your desk for 3 days because it was the elections was still in the middle of all that. And Donald Trump will say something stupid in 3 days or less, and then the world will pay attention to that story again. So, anyways, that's the story about how my son's hospital bill broke the internet and became an international story. And I was hounded by the press for 3 days. It's funny, the news, reporters, they act like you owe them. Like, you have to talk to me. I'm the news. And I'm going, but I don't have to talk to you. Some of these guys, I don't want to talk to you. If the New York Times calls, then yeah, I'll talk to him. I remember one thing about talking to the New York Times guy. I was like, seriously, you can't do anything to prepare yourself for something like that. For all of a sudden, you're like a dude, and then the next day, the entire world wants a piece of you. You don't know how to act. You don't know the best way to go around it or about it. So it was a pretty wild experience. If my wife wanted to let it get crazy, it would have turned into an even bigger story, because I feel like I could have fueled the fire a little bit more, fan of the fire, whatever you say. But I didn't. I kind of wanted it to go away because she kind of wanted it to go away. And got to keep mama happy, right? Anyways, that's my True Story Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to ride safe, travel far, do it soon.